For most of human history, the most valuable thing on earth wasn't gold, or silver, or land. It was flavor. A handful of peppercorns could buy livestock. Nutmeg could buy a house. Cinnamon could erase a lifetime of debt. Empires rose for these spices. Wars were launched for them. And the world we live in today, our supply chains, corporations, and even global finance was built on these tiny grains of flavor. Welcome to the financial timeline, where money, power, and history collide, and nothing is ever as simple as it looks. Before modern banking, before oil, before global trade, the world ran on spices. Spices didn't just make food taste better, they solved problems no one else could. They preserved meat, treated wounds, masked rot, cured illnesses, and signaled wealth. To medieval Europe, a dish scented with cinnamon wasn't food. It was a financial statement. In a cold, gray world with long winters and no fresh food, spices were the closest thing to magic. And magic has a price. Europe didn't grow spices. They came from distant worlds. India, Sri Lanka, the Banda Islands, Southeast Asia. The journey was a relay of Indian farmers, Arab merchants, Egyptian ports, Venetian fleets. Every middleman added a markup. Every link in the chain guarded its secrets. Merchants invented myths to protect their roots. Cinnamon guarded by giant birds. Nutmeg surrounded by dragons. Pepper grown in burning forests. This wasn't mythology. It was information warfare. The medieval version of corporate misinformation. And at the end of the chain sat Venice. Venice didn't grow spices. It controlled the choke point, the entry into Europe. For centuries, it manipulated prices, hoarded supply, and released spices only when profits peaked. Venice became rich, not through farmland, but through flow management. Exactly the model modern corporations like Amazon, Maersk, and FedEx perfected. But monopolies create desperation, and Europe was desperate. Europe's age of exploration didn't begin with curiosity. It began with pepper price problems. Columbus sailed west because he believed he could reach Asia, the land of pepper, faster. Vasco da Gama sailed around Africa to break Arab control. Magellan circled the planet because Spain needed its own route. Exploration was not science. It was cost. Empire followed profit. Geography followed greed. And when Europeans accidentally reached the Americas, the world changed again. The Americas unleashed a new wave of global commodities. Chili peppers gives reshaped Asian cuisine. Vanilla became a luxury across Europe. Cacao a currency for the Aztecs. Allspice transformed medicine and preservation within decades. Crops from the Americas rewired economies from India to Africa. This is the true beginning of globalization. Old world flavors colliding with new world power. Portugal tried to bypass Venice by force raiding ships, blockading ports, militarizing the Indian Ocean. But it was the Dutch who perfected domination. In 1602, they built the VOC, the world's first multinational corporation, with shareholders, dividends, the legal right to wage war, and the power to govern entire territories. The VOC didn't trade it monopolized it. They massacred island populations, replanted farms with enslaved labor, and enforced total control. This wasn't a trading company. It was a corporate empire, and Amsterdam became the world's financial center because of it. England watched and copied. By the 1700s, the world's new obsession wasn't spice. It was sugar, the first mass consumer product. Sugar plantations became industrial machines, early factories powered by enslaved labor. Europe's wealth exploded. London's banks, Amsterdam's stock markets, France's merchant dynasties, global insurance companies, all of them grew from sugar money. Sugar didn't just sweeten tea. It built capitalism. With sugar, silver, tobacco, and new crops, the Americas became the hinge of global trade. Europe needed American sugar. Asia needed American silver. Africa was pulled into forced labor markets, and the entire world became interconnected. When Alexander Hamilton later built America's financial system, he was simply plugging the U.S. into a network created centuries earlier by spices. The lesson of the first global economy is uncomfortable and simple. Power belongs to whoever controls the choke points. Venice controlled sea routes. The Dutch controlled islands. England controlled plantations. Today, it's semiconductor foundries, cobalt mines, cloud servers, shipping canals, rare earth minerals. The tools changed. The logic didn't. Scarcity creates power. Control creates empires. Just like pepper and cinnamon did, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes with surgical precision. If you understand how spices built the first global economy, you understand how modern capitalism works today. If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe. History has the answers, and I'll show you where to look.